how that happened that only one person really know this part of the project and nobody can kind of cover the...
If we're talking about nonfiction,
Yeah.
then it's definitely good to know what author wanted to
All
say,
right.
especially if it is some scientific book,
Yeah.
something that you definitely need
That's
to
the
know.
exact more question. What if we ask the same question but to your manager?
You need to encourage yourself, you need to push yourself to continue learning something.
Basically, people are more important than the machines so far.
Yes, so far.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Techie Wisdom, the podcast where we're going to have real talks with awesome engineering managers about how they got where they are today. I'm Anton, and today we are recording the first real episode of my podcast with a very special guest, my great friend, Andrii Korchan, a very experienced engineering manager. Welcome, Andrii.
Hi, Anton. It's nice to be here. Yeah, I'm glad to be a guest.
Yeah, I'm super happy to start my podcast with you as my guest because uh, you have always been an example for me since we got acquainted. I think it was already like 20 years ago or something like that, right?
Yeah, yeah, like also almost 20 years since then. Yeah,
Yeah, so maybe a little bit how we met. We studied at the same university, right? And that's how we saw each other the first
yeah.
time, even before we start.
I, I,
Yeah,
I I would say that foregoes the fact that we used to live in the same dormitory and same
yeah,
room. That is somehow even more important when you're the first grade. That affects your relationship and the way how you see the world, and like, yeah, that's important, I
yeah,
believe.
exactly. Like the environment, I think, really makes you who you are, basically, right? Not the professors in the university, but really the people around you. Could you tell us a bit more about yourself and how you found your way into the world of engineering and then actually engineering management later on?
I'm in engineering and development since I think since 2008. It is like
Wow.
more than 15 years. Yeah, but um, that was my goal, to start working as early as possible while I was studying, and I tried my best to achieve it. And I think it was the second grade, like at the end of the second grade,
Mm,
I applied to a research institute that was, I think, somehow affiliated with the university we studied, and I started part time there. Um, uh, yeah, and since then I changed like several companies and many projects. Um, yeah, regarding the path, how I got the engineering manager, how I figured that that's the way I would like to
mhm,
go. It's hard to say because when you start your career, uh, you're trying to do as best as you can whatever tasks are on your plate. You're trying to figuring out what you're good at, what tasks you enjoy work on, and
mhm,
and then after that, you're figuring that, well, this type of work motivates me,
mhm,
and this type of work I never did but I would like to. And then and then that's actually how it happened to me. So when you work on a project that has some gaps in
mhm,
processes, and it's nothing bad about project, all projects have gaps, right? But the thing is that when you uh, see those gaps, and when you would like to try to address those, and that's how it started to me. That I figured, well, I would like to try to address
mhm,
those, and luckily environment was supportive, and I had an opportunity to try myself there. And then I figured that, well, that's something I enjoyed
mhm.
doing. And I think it was gradual transformation for me. It wasn't something that happened one day, because
Yeah.
there were like some backs and forths. So sometimes you're acting like manager, then you're doing more development back, then you're doing more management, then sometimes your management is kind of engineering manager. You're managing like engineering processes. Sometimes your management is you're managing people more, and there are like different backs and forths.
Like
And
different hats you put on your head.
after some series of projects, I figured that well, I think that this type of activity fits my skill set the most.
Hmm.
So
Okay, clear. And the whole development story, basically, of your life, was this something that you discovered really when you were even a kid, like, I don't know, 10, 15 years old, and then you realized, like, oh, wow, that's really a passion that I have. I want to be into development, into the computers. Or it was more like since you entered the university, only then you actually start thinking about that more.
I think I wrote my first like lines of code when I was, I don't know, when I was 13. But it was just something that I was enjoying doing.
Hmm.
It was not something that I saw that well, this is the path I would like to go, and that's the way for my entire life. No, I didn't think of it that
Hmm.
way. I think it came even after I started my first job, when I started realizing that well, probably this is the way I would like to
Oh,
go.
okay.
It is hard for me to believe that kids like young people of like age of 16, 17, they can be that aware of what they really want and what they will be really enjoying doing in 15, 20
Mhm.
years, when they will be living. They don't know even what is the place, what the city, country, where they will be living, what will be their like life situation. They don't know that, so it's very hard to predict from them what they will enjoy doing.
Yeah, yeah, true.
So it's hard for me to believe. Yeah.
And to elaborate more about on your personality, I think I want to ask like interesting question. If you could have a dinner with any historical figure, dead or alive, who would it be, and what would you ask that person?
Huh. It's interesting. I never thought about it. The first person comes to my mind is Eric Maria Remarque. So
Uh,
I would be curious to sit next to him and to talk to him about like different things, especially in relation to current world situation and the and his life and his path.
and why exactly him? Like, what do you feel about him that makes you feel that way as well?
I like the way how he represent his thoughts. So it really feels that in every book I read from him, there is like a strong line of his personality and his life attitude that you can feel in each character of his books. And I just like I would like to talk to this person to understand whether the picture I built based on his books about his life, about that world situation, about the challenges he faced, about because like in characters like from his books, um, there is part of his life as well,
Hmm.
and I would like to know about it. And yeah, it is nothing about like well, if I wouldn't know that, I
Yeah.
I, I cannot live my life. No, it is just I would enjoy the chat. I believe.
I think I share the same passion also about the books, that you kind of feel this, like the visualization in your head and the whole abstraction that your head is creating. This is totally different from any movie or music that you listen to or watch to.
Well, and we're saying that that's when we're talking about fiction books. If we're talking about nonfiction,
Yeah.
then it's definitely good to know what author wanted to
All
say,
right.
especially if it is some like, scientific book or
Yeah.
something. So you
that's
definitely need to
that's
know.
true. Exactly. Okay, so before we go into really the next big chapter, which would be like a mock interview, let's maybe give people some context about you. Like, could you then describe your current role in the company that you are working in now? How big is your team that you are leading? What type of the company it is, like a startup, scale up, or more corporate? Just give some explanation about this.
I'm working for a product company that is relatively small. We are like a bit more than 20 20 people.
Mhm.
It is something in between the corporate and startup. So we are flexible as startup, but we are not that eager to grow like our revenue for no reason or to grow our like headcount for no reason. So we're different in this regard. Yeah, and as I said, majority of our like company, and we are small enough still to call everyone within our company as a team. So sometimes we refer to like to dedicated teams like dev team, QA, DevOps,
Mhm.
but we still often call ourselves like team. Um, and the majority of our company is engineering unit that is like development, including QA, like DevOps. I'm managing the engineering unit.
How big is that? How many people?
I think like we're like around like 15 or so,
That's including
something like that.
developers, I
Yeah.
don't know, QA, DevOps, and
Yeah, everyone. I think everyone. Yeah, everyone. It's like yeah, so we are like a bit more than 20.
before that one, you actually worked also for some big companies in general as well, right?
It was outsourcing company. It was not like it was servicing
Uh-huh.
company. So it was not a product, and I would say that there is a huge difference between product and non-product companies in many
Hmm.
ways. So I wouldn't even compare. Like it was different experience. It was nice, and it was for me it was more about people I met because it was like bigger company. It was like nice Dutch company
Hmm.
uh, that gave me a lot. It was mostly about people, not about the products, about
Hmm.
processes. But there were like variety of projects. There are different projects, and I met a lot of smart people in each of them. So it was 20. So I spent 6 years, 6.5 years working
Uh-huh.
there, and yeah, there were like maybe 10, maybe even like 20 different projects. Some are small, like for 4 weeks, just like
Hmm.
very very quick and rapid. Some are for half years, so different.
Hmm. Okay, cool. I think that's already enough for guys to understand that you are very experienced guy, that you went through different styles, different companies, different teams, and different projects. And I think that's always great to have uh, as diverse as possible uh, to then go where you are today, actually, right? Because all the knowledges and all the experiences that you had before, I'm pretty sure you use it every day right now, right?
Um, yeah, I think it is mostly true. Yeah.
Okay, so now I would like to then start so-called mock interview. Why I want to do this, because I think it's very helpful tool for the people who may be considering moving to the engineering manager role from the current position they are now, and just surfing through the internet about some questions, some possible questions that can be asked on the interview, and then see how you can approach those questions. I think that would be great help to those people. And what I would like to do now is to kind of play a role of this interview. I would be like a hirer, and you're gonna be yourself basically, and
Okay.
we will be playing that kind of act. And I would just ask you some questions that normally people ask on that kind of position, and you just answer whatever you think is correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
let's get started.
Just wanted to say before we
Uh-huh.
dive into the questions, I would like to say that for those who think will be interested in this type of questions and answers, from my perspective, the most important thing is need to be yourself and to and not to try to answer some like common standard answers you found in the internet because you are looking for the place where you'll spend like a lot of
Yeah.
time in your life, and you want to understand that you will be a good fit, and the company will be a good fit for your life, for your mindset, and everything. So, and if something does not click, then it is okay. And if you don't know the answers that would be acceptable by interviewer, then it is okay. But it is your style, it is your
Yeah,
answers.
yeah,
So
absolutely right.
I think it should be from you. It shouldn't be from internet. And this type of mock interview is just to give a rough
Yeah,
idea. how it will be. It's definitely not the
Exactly.
answer, like prescribed
Yeah,
answers.
yeah, absolutely. Because it's all um, wrapped around your personal opinion, right? And your knowledge and your experience before. And the
Yeah.
answer I would give, of course, might be a little bit different or maybe similar if we have similar experiences before. But absolutely, you're right. That people don't just blindly copy paste answers and then add at least a little bit of your own to that one. Yeah, so the first question, like pretty generic. In your opinion, what is the engineering manager role about? What are the main responsibilities of that position, of that role?
I think even though it is like a pretty common position, engineer manager, but I think that the variety of responsibilities
Mm-hmm.
is somehow wide, and it really depends on the company you're working for and the particular needs of a company, and particular needs of a company at this particular stage of company's
Mm-hmm.
growth. I think in most cases, this type of responsibility is something from two buckets. Like first is delivery management, and second is people management. Delivery management specific tasks is like running like development process, tasks breakdown, like assignments, like long-term estimates and short-term estimates, like development practices like technical excellence, uh, product metrics, production metrics, uh, playing like intermediary role between product team and engineering team. And for people management is recruitment, onboarding, like employee retention, team growth. So I think that's the main categories I would call. But again, so for in some cases, for engineering managers, you may not face, or you may face like hiring once a year, and it definitely won't be your main focus. But on the other hand, you have to build and uh, reorganize the way how engineering team works with business team, and that will be your day-to-day activity, and it will be heavy for you. It will require a lot of effort, a lot of creativity, whereas hiring process may be uh, well established in the company you're working for, and that won't be a challenge for you at all.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I see it.
Yeah, I think it makes total sense. And talking about the delivery management that you said, I have like a concrete question here. Let's say you build a feature, right? Of course, that's how we all do in our jobs. And then, yeah, at least part of our job is about that. And then, how you make sure as the manager that your team eventually will build exactly what was requested from the beginning, because in between there are a lot of steps and
Mhm.
process involved, like from, let's say, idea of some stakeholder and until it went to production, and in the middle somehow things can change. And how then you really make sure that the original idea is exactly what you have at the end?
You need to be prepared well. So you need to work closely with your product team to understand their needs, and sometimes it is hard. You need to have like well written definition of ready list. So what is considered as a task feature that is ready for your team to be taken to development. Otherwise, so like otherwise, you may face different challenges on your way, like whether you will have possibility to test it, whether you need to apply like A/B testing, and this feature has a lot of uncertainty, for instance, about the final output. As for feature, you tend to uh, you have to uh, define feature more granular, so the effort will be measurable, the outcome will be measurable. If you see the risk of feature being transformed during its lifetime, then you have to drill it down to like more granular bits, and then these granular bits, it's easy to set expected results, and it's easy to track whether this feature is indeed or whether this particular bit of the big feature is indeed the right thing in a bigger picture of like a whole epic. It really depends on the type of feature and how agile you would like to be, because you may not have all the requirements from the beginning. So then you need to be creative and introduce some process of like periodic um product team acceptance or client
All right.
acceptance, or like just to make sure that after every single stage of development you're still on the same page.
All right, cool. And now let's say your team has to build two features at the same time, but it has a bandwidth only for one. How you would solve that puzzle as the manager?
It happens all the time. So you need to ask yourself questions. You need to ask product team questions, questions of the following nature. So, what will happen, or what will be the cost of not implementing each of the features? Then, which product line each feature belongs to? Like maybe the one does belong to the product line that is company's priority for this like quarter, for this
Hmm.
year. So it definitely will have higher priority. Then, who are the dependents of each feature? If this particular feature, is blocking other teams, then it may have higher priority. In this case, can we implement it partially and deliver only the part that is enough to unblock the other team? Like, let's say we can define API, and we skip production ready implementation. Uh, then can we um, can we reduce scope of each feature? There are various approaches to do, and there is no like silver bullet that can address all these things. But you need to constantly ask questions, ask product team questions. What is the trade-off they are comfortable with? Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. And probably also give some estimations from your side as well, right? Because if let's say one feature to build is
Yeah,
like
sure.
few days and another one few weeks, that might also make a lot of difference into the decision making.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Okay, and maybe a little bit different question, but similar to how you would manage this delivery part. Let's say you have a very tight deadline, and
Mhm.
you're working hard as a team. Maybe like I don't know, let's say 2 weeks of the deadline that you have to build something and release to production, and then suddenly one of your core members got sick, the one that was really like one of the core guys in this team, and you realize that okay, like I don't know, just a flu, but still for 1 week he or she is completely gone.
Mhm.
Your action in this situation, what you gonna do?
We need to identify risks as early as we can, and we need to try to understand the cost and potential gap between what we can achieve and what is expected. Um, then it really depends whether it's one big feature, or is it like just some set of features, and we will be able to deliver some of these features. And yeah, you definitely need to communicate it to be business team, and it is important to understand what will be the trade-off, whether you can shift the deadline, whether do you have a clear way to communicate the shifted deadline to your stakeholders, or do you have clear way to communicate reduced scope to your stakeholders? If it is the deadline you cannot shift, and it is something that happened like 1 week or 2 weeks before the like final deadline, then the question is it the only event that interfered with your like planned process, and is it the case that this only uh, event messed up whole your planning? Then what's wrong with your planning? Then that's a good point for respect. You have a bottleneck, so only one person can
Yeah,
deliver certain part of your feature. So
yeah.
there are a lot of questions to revise afterwards if it indeed leads to shifting deadline, like say failing deadline in any way, like whether reducing scope or shifting
Yeah,
deadline.
definitely. Like how that happened that only one person really know this part of the project and nobody can kind of cover that case, right? So I think the next step would be to make sure that at least two people in the team knows about everything, and then at least the risk is
Mhm.
less, right?
Yeah, there could be bad coincidence that it was indeed like so you were willing to take this risk and to you wanted to deliver this feature, let's say by I don't know, like
Mhm.
by 1st of May because there is some event there or something that was really important. You are willing to take this risk, but then you need at time when you accepted the risk, you have to understand what will be the cost you may pay in case if it won't work out. And yeah, and then you should not invent plan B on the fly.
Yeah, true.
It should be there somewhere there in your pocket already.
Yeah, sometimes you have it, sometimes you don't, right? But that's another story. And about people management that you mentioned, as far as I know, you actually work within remote team completely. So how then you
Yeah.
approach managing the team with really diverse skill sets, working style, and the backgrounds, especially when they are remote?
If you have a good team, then with diverse backgrounds and diverse skill sets and like diverse seniority,
Mhm.
let's say, then it is in many cases it's a good fit for most of the process because the projects needs are always diverse. You have different types of tasks, you have different types of challenges you face. So for some people are willing to work on like heavy heavy tasks, being deeply focused uh, for a week, for 2 weeks.
Mhm.
So for them, you just need to make sure that um, you have well-defined requirement. You minimize the communication. You have clear and articulated expectation from what's supposed to be delivered. Yeah, and this person can do it better than anyone else. For some people who is in like like active like uh, s- development stage of their like career, who are eager to learn more and more and more, you can value more possibility to do pair program with someone more senior. Some people are comfortable working with vague requirements, but you need to understand that there are risks there that taking vague requirement you're providing like good challenge, but you're providing a high level of risks not being delivered or being delivered like partially or having like technical debt at the
Mhm.
end or having different types of trade-offs. But some people but these people are willing to work with vague requirements, and they're comfortable to asking people around, they're comfortable to initiate conversations, chats, and poking people around to provide them with all required information. So there are different type of like of skill set, different type of work attitude.
Okay, and then for example, let's say I'm stepping into your office, and see everybody's in your team, and then I ask one of your teammates, "Let's go and drink some coffee," and then during our conversation, I just ask that person, like, "Can you please tell me, describe the management style of Andrii?" What do you think this person will tell me?
I can predict the question back from the person. What are the options for management styles?
I say whatever. Okay, then if rephrase it like, describe Andrii as your manager, then what do you think they will say?
It's I would be curious to hear the answer as well. So if you're going to reach out to someone, just let me know what will
Okay.
be the answer. I uh, I would expect something like being described as a supportive. I try to be supportive for my
Mhm.
team, and perhaps I put more effort to be supportive for my engineering team than to yeah, our business team. I may look not as supportive as I try to be for engineering
Uh,
team. but I think
That's logical, I think.
that's my approach. Yeah. So I don't like I cannot think of anything.
And maybe two more, like let's say top three words, like supportive, and then two more.
Yeah, maybe it is wishful thinking for me, but that's actually but let's frame it. If it is not entirely true for how it is for
Hmm.
some, but at least that's my goal, and how I see it's supposed to be, how I would like to be. So being transparent and being direct.
Hmm. One more question. What if we ask the same question, but to your manager? Do you think the answer will be different or the same, more or less? Like if I ask your manager, please describe the management style, or how basically Andrii manages the team in also three words, what your manager will say.
I believe that it will be something of the same nature.
Hmm.
Yeah, I somehow in some responsibilities I somehow I replaced my current manager. So what used to be his responsibilities are now my responsibilities. So uh, and I somehow like inherited part of his approach, how he manages things. So if you will say, if he would want to describe me, probably it will be partial describing of himself. So and definitely he will say something good.
Okay, okay. Yeah, at least in my philosophy on that situation is, I think, uh, y- part of our job in whatever position we are. I think part of our job is to offload some work from my manager, because as a manager, I think you would value this kind of skill as maybe the most one. If, let's say, 5 of 15 of your teammates would do something that offloads your day-to-day work, if you can completely delegate something to those people, and they even learn from it, for you that's like a direct benefit. And then also, if we are talking about the team and how they describe you, I think it's very important to have the trust as the manager of your team, especially if you entered, like in your situation it's a little bit different because you grow the team yourself. That's maybe a little bit different, but if you had ever experienced to step in as the manager to the already set up team, let's say there is a team of 6 7 people,
Mhm,
and then you
mhm.
actually became their new manager, uh, what's your actions or advices on how you would really get this trust within some time from your team?
I think I never put the dedicated effort in building this trust. Like, well, I need to do this in order to gain some trust. So I never thought about it this way. But I think it is based on a common sense. You need to be honest. You need to be respectful for others' opinions,
Mhm.
and you need to be, or you need to keep the best expertise within your team for at least one area. So you still need to be a good expert, like technical expert, because this is an engineering team. They value technical expertise, and if you prove that you're willing to learn some like
Mhm.
complex concepts, then I think it's very important, and you need to keep this expertise. You need to learn because you're because people who are working um, with hands-on tasks, they learn technical things daily, and they
Yeah.
they organically will grow. Whereas you as a manager, you may have lack of opportunity in your day-to-day work to grow
Mhm.
technically. So you need to you need to encourage yourself. You need to push yourself to continue learning something, and you need to and then back to the second point from my list: be respectful to other people opinions and to other people expertise. So you need to get back to other people, ask their thoughts, ask for their technical advice, considering and assuming that they are better technical experts than you are in some
Mhm.
areas, and then you will learn. So you have a unique opportunity to learn from multiple high level
Yeah.
engineers who are growing rapidly, and you can ask them questions and ask uh, them to teach you somehow. So
Yeah.
yeah, and I think that's how I build it.
Okay, excellent answer. I think very good one. Let's move on to like another block, and before we start, maybe you can share some funny story about some miscommunication or misunderstanding within your team, or maybe you have like a tech fail during a live demo, or like demo effect everybody knows that you prepared everything and then suddenly everything crashed. Do you have something like that to share with people?
We were working for Dutch company. The funny thing was, so everything was in Dutch, and even in code, the users there was no class users like
Ah, yeah,
gebruiker
yeah,
or
gebruiker. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
gebruiker. Yeah, your is better than Dutch. Is better than mine. Yeah. So everything was in Dutch, and and confusion came from the fact that there are supposed to be two different products. We spent like 1 month of working, assuming that there is only one website we need to deliver that is for vehicles, and it turned out there should be another one for ships, and in Dutch there was only one letter differently. It was like Fartuigen and Fortuigen or something like that.
Okay.
Uh, and it was and we didn't realize that. Well, this is like and the functionality from uh, BA perspective was pretty similar in both, and like the screens we had to deliver are pretty the same. And at that time I was pretty junior in engineering, and for me it sounded like a fun. But now I would be happy actually to talk to people from that project who were managers of that project, who were like seniors there, to hear their thoughts. How come, like how it happened? Because to me, like for junior, it was like okay, there was just we thought that it is mistype, but it turned out to be not a mistype. It
Mhm.
was just another product we need to deliver, even though very simple. But for more senior people,
Yeah.
I would like to hear the explanation of how they thought it happened.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Cool stuff. Cool story. And now I want to start like a rapid fire round, which means that I'm going to ask you some short questions, and you can answer not necessarily short. Uh,
Mhm.
let's see what happens. I'm curious of this block as well. So Mac or PC,
Mac,
uh,
definitely Mac.
coffee or tea.
Coffee.
Okay. Most underrated tech tool or software you can't live without.
There is a tool called Crisp that is built. Well, I don't know if it is indeed underrated. If you're in somewhere at loud place, and then it can create a feeling on the other side of the screen
Hmm.
that is completely quiet outside because it suppresses pretty well.
Okay, nice. Favorite programming meme or a joke?
I think that yeah, that's the one that actually recently recorded on our project. We discussed some production issue, and so the joke is the guy with a broken leg comes to doctor and says that I have a pain in my leg. I don't know like what to do. Can you can you examine it and check? And doctor just looks at his own leg and says, "Well, I have pretty the same leg, but it doesn't hurt, so it's supposed to be okay."
Uh,
So it's like sometimes happens between developers and
yeah, yeah,
QAs.
yeah. That's a good one. Most challenging tech problem that you have solved in under an hour.
I don't know, like there was like pretty recent one. I had to provide some estimates for AWS
Hmm.
costs, and it is not trivial, but I somehow like numbers addicted, and I really like I start solving every problem like from uh, from any sphere of my life, from opening Google Sheets
Okay.
and putting numbers there. Uh, then so and it, I was able to handle it, I think, pretty quickly, even though it is not like trivial and the answer is not on the surface. If you can't represent something with numbers, then this thing probably doesn't even exist.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
So that's how I think of it. So I start solving all problems with Google Sheet.
All right. Cool. Best piece of advice you have received in your tech career?
I can recall something that okay someone told me and like that's how it works. So I don't know like I don't know like if there was something like that. Long time ago, one told me that if you're in the right place and dealing with the things you're good at, and then you put um, effort in making these decisions, then these decisions will be at least not bad. And so maybe it will be lesson learned for you. Maybe it will be indeed not the ideal one, but you need not to afraid to make a decision. You need to push yourself. If you're hesitating, just put more effort on assessing potential risks, but don't hesitate to make a final decision. And it is not failure until you give up. It is just an experiment. When you give up, it is like okay, this is a failure of
Hmm.
experiment. But if you're attempting again and again, that was just another experiment. That is okay to kind of to fail series of experiments until you get right answer. Yeah,
Okay, good one. And the last one, if you would be able to spend a day with someone famous from the tech industry, who would it be?
huh.
Let's say from the one who's still alive. The whole day, not only dinner, but the whole day.
How they if alive? So I hesitated between like Jobs and Bill Gates, but if he's alive still, then probably Bill Gates. I would like to spend time with him and just understand what was behind his decision, how he made it, and how he what were the failures behind all his successful, well-known decisions, right? And same actually for Steve Jobs.
Hmm.
So what they felt about their failures, what they felt about their success, how they forced themselves to continue move on after failure, and it's more important for me how they forced themselves to move on after success when they set the goal. Because I believe that these people are among those who exceeds their expectations in achieving their
Hmm.
goals. Because I don't believe that they set the goals that high that they achieved. So probably there was a period when they achieved something, and then they realized that well, I can do even twice more. I can I can do everything, and that's what forced them not to stop and to consider that my original goal was a wrong one. I was wrong with setting solo goal.
Hmm.
Yeah, I would like to hear answer for those questions.
Yeah, I would be curious too, of course, just to sit somewhere
I'll share
around,
with
you
you
know.
when
Yeah,
it
yeah. Who
happens.
knows? Maybe you still will be able to talk to him in this life. Why not? Okay, and let's move on to another block, which basically some tips, advices that you can give from your own experience, and also we will talk about the book as well. We already shared a lot of passion about the books. That's what I like. And for aspiring engineering managers out there, what would be your top piece of advice?
I think that developing emotional intelligence is the key. So not only technical skills and technical excellence may bring you to the point where all managers would like to be. It is about self-awareness to uh, being able to analyze your own strengths and weaknesses, what you like, what you don't like, being able to build an empathy, to understand other people's needs, other people's problems.
So basically, people are more important than the machines so far.
Uh, yes, so far.
Yeah, yeah,
Of course, I believe that will be the case all the
yeah.
time.
Okay, yeah. Time flies when you're having fun, basically. And talking about books, In my career, at least, books gave me a lot of really insightful information on the topics or the questions that I really couldn't even find from my managers or my colleagues. So, do you have one management or maybe one leadership book that influence you the most and help you also to progress in your career uh, the most?
The one that I would like to mention is leading. I think it's called "Leading the Leaders" from Itzhak Adezis or Adizes.
Hmm.
This is this is the book that describes managerial styles. That is why it popped up in my mind, because earlier you asked a question about managing
Hmm.
style, and then I asked you what are the options, and then later I figured that this could be the options. And this book describes different management skill set, and the author um, represents it in a way that we are all partially producer, partially administrator, partially uh, integrator, and partially entrepreneur. And that's the proportion of these skills in your skill
Hmm.
set matters. And it was nice to read and to um, reflect on what you hear, what you read in the book, to understand who are you in this regard, and what are your strengths and what are your weakness. And it somehow inspired me to look into skills mentioned in that book that I am not strong at.
Hmm.
And that it was quite
I
inspiring.
haven't read that one. That's a cool. I think I will put the link to this book in the description so people can also find out this, and maybe I will also read that one. Thanks for that. So I think it's time to wrap it up. Basically, I think it's been a great 1.5 hour almost. I want to express a huge gratitude to you, Andrii, that you spend your personal time and decided to talk with me and share also your wisdom, your tips, your experience with the audience that will listen to this. Thank you very much for being today with me. I really appreciate it, and maybe who knows, we will talk about some other stuff in the future as well. But so far, it's been great. Thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you for organizing this conversation. It was fun and nice to talk to you, and thank you for good questions. And I hope that people will find useful, interesting answers and topics we
Yeah,
discussed.
I hope so too. And to our audience, thank you guys also for listening to this podcast. And if you like it, of course, please subscribe and maybe leave a comment and share it with friends. That would help us to grow this podcast. And until next time, stay curious and stay wise. And take care, everyone.